Hey guys, it's your big dreamer and doer G Dinero coming to you today with another TA Tuesday. This time Tuesday, November 11th, 2025, where we're going to talk about how Bitcoin and Solana are starting to rebound, the government might reopen, and MicroStrategy and Tesla tend to be trending sideways right now. But first, remember, none of this is tax, financial, legal, investment advice. It's your buddy G Dinero helping you increase your financial literacy to help put you and your family on that path to financial freedom. And before we go too far, huge thank you to every single one of you who have joined the new G Dinero coaching community. I'm super stoked to be on this journey with you guys and grateful for the faith that you've placed in me to excel, right? To execute, to help you on that path of financial freedom. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention John C. John C., you know who you are, bro. I could not have done this with you. He has been my best friend for over 46 years, guys. He's the one that worked tirelessly behind the scenes to bring the website to life, to bring the courses to life, now to bring the new community to life, and soon the G-Tracker app to life, and notifications and everything else. So, man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And now with no further ado, let's jump right into the charts. All right, as always, we're going to start off with the Bitcoin TABI model. And as you can see, everything's a little bit darker. I'm actually filming this on Monday night. I waited as late as I could to film it so that it's like being here with you guys early in the morning on Tuesday. But the reason I had to do it the night before is I actually have a doctor's appointment coming up here this morning, so Tuesday morning. So here we are on the Bitcoin TABI model. What you'll notice is we did go back into yellow territory. You'll notice that we are back into yellow. Yellow means we're neutral. So even with the fact that we're still at $105,000, Bitcoin from an on-chain metric standpoint is at a neutral setting. We are just shy of the short-term holder cost basis, which is up now at just under $112,000. We're still above that line in the sand at $95,000, and we are well above the true market mean of $82,269. You'll note the Meyer multiple still below 1, the MVRVZ score still below 2, and historical volatility starting to bump back up again down here at the bottom. You can see just a little bit of a bump here. It's not very much at all, though. As we move into the Bitcoin daily chart, on the daily chart, you'll note that Bitcoin did bottom out just below $100,000, hit like 98, 99,000 a few times in a row. We did print a green mean reversion dot on the daily chart, which we've only printed one down in this, like almost one standard deviation or below, only a couple of times this year. That's the second time the entire year. We do see a crossover starting to occur right here on the MACD. RSI was almost down at 30. It was at 32.18, has crossed back up over the moving average. Looks like the trend is starting to turn and go back up. First thing we'll have to tackle is the 200-day moving average. And this point of control right here, that's at 108, 109. We've been talking about that for a while. Then the short-term holder cost basis at 112 before making another run at $118,000. We need to make a run at that and stay above it. To the downside, where's our support? Our support remains that $100,000 to $105,000 level. Especially, you note that we just cruised right along, just like we talked about last week. We cruised right along the 1 year simple moving average. The 1 year simple moving average, last time we did that was back during the tariff tantrums back on April the 7th. But you'll note that we did just cruise right along it almost perfectly. If we come over here to the 4-hour chart, on the 4-hour chart, I zoomed out to show that we're still structurally in an uptrend, albeit one could argue that we've started to reverse direction. You could make an argument that we are making lower highs and lower lows and that we have structurally changed direction. I would buy that. A lot really stands to be seen. Can we get back up over this $116,000, $118,000 level? We get back up over that, we're golden. But if we stay below it and keep rejecting off of it, the more times we reject off of it and continue to make lower lows, the worse off we'll be, right? Support, like I said, downside 100,000, upside right now. We're going to run into resistance here. Short-term resistance at this 38% fib level, which is at 106,479. Then we got to get through the point of control, which we talked about was at 109, 110, and then all the moving averages and the short-term holder cost basis, everything is kind of converging on that 110 to 112, 113 level. We're coming off of a great buy signal with a giant green mean reversion dot. RSI dropped to 22.52 and the MACD crosses over. Plus we have the green triangle here. Plus we're out the bottom of all the confluence clouds. Plus our trend flipped right here on Sunday evening, right? Sunday morning. So guys, that's about as good of a signal as you're going to get. I know people sit on the sidelines and they go, yeah, but what if? Well, what if it goes up? What if it doesn't go down and it goes up? So I'll just leave you with that. We're going to go into the Solana Bitcoin chart. This is on the daily chart. We did look like we bottomed again right at the base of this support zone. You guys, you can't make this up. I drew this support zone. It's been a support zone for well over a year now. I drew it way back here, and then all I did was extend it over here, and we've literally been rattling around right in this support zone perfectly at the bottom here. And as you can see, we are starting to bounce back up off the bottom. We're going to tackle the 200-day moving average again. Our goal is to turn that into support. Once that happens, then I believe that we're off to the races and Solana outperforms Bitcoin. I remain very confident about that. This white line needs to be broken. We need to come back down and retest it, not unsuccessfully like we did here, but instead successfully, and then go on to make a higher high. And we are off to the races. So what are we looking at? We're looking at support is exactly where we are down here at 0.001485, 0.0015, let's call it. Resistance to the upside is likely going to be wherever this point of control comes in. The point of control actually is acting as support. So resistance is going to first be the 200-day moving average. Next up is going to be this clump of volume and the 50% fib and the 50 and 100-day moving averages, and those are at 0.00175. Solana on the daily chart here, you will note that we have still continued in the upward trend. Thankfully, this low was no lower than the April lows that we had. April lows were down at 95. This one dropped as low as 145. I said all along that I thought 145 would be the floor. This is what would hold between 145 and 150. And sure enough, it does look like that's the case. We're starting to run into this volume at 177, 178, which is also where the 200-day moving average is. Not surprising that we're going to have to work through that before making our way out of this support zone, crossing the 61.8% fib and going back and tackling this $200 level, which tends to be the point of control. So that's going to be the resistance to the upside. If we look on the 4-hour, we're coming off of being mean reverted to the downside. We're coming off of a RSI reading of, I think I just saw 19 on there, 19.74. Guys, that is stupid low, super low and stupid low. So all of this, what am I talking about? I'm talking about this right here. MACD down, RSI at like rock bottom lows, mean reversion greater than 2 standard deviations to the downside, bouncing right on a known level of support, a fib level that's around 145, 150. I don't even care about the buy signal. The buy signal is just like gravy on top or cherry on top or whatever it's called. We're out the bottom of the even bearish confluence cloud, and then the trend flips. You can wait for the trend flip and miss part of the move, or you can take a chance and get in at what looks to be the bottom. And last week when I did the TA Tuesday, I think we were calling that it looked like it was the bottom. On the Ethereum chart, all I show is the 4-hour chart. Remember over here, we did bounce. Looks like we got a nice bounce on this 200-day moving average. I said if I were a buyer of Ethereum, I'm not, but if I was, all kinds of buying signals. You see all the same ones that you saw with Solana, and the buy signal, and the fact that we're bouncing on the 200-day moving average. All of those things are favorable in favor of Ethereum to take a bounce right here. What's it going to go up into? Looks like our next level that it will go up to is about 3,800. 3,800 will start running into significant resistance all the way up to 4,000. It's going to have a tough time breaking through that. If it does, this point of control up here at 4,300 and the moving averages, the 50 and the 100, it's not just going to rocket right through those. Look look at, guys, every time it's gotten up close to them, it's rebounded back off of them again. So just keep that in mind, that these things will act as like ceilings that Ethereum will hit its head on at the end of the day. MicroStrategy, we talked a lot about MicroStrategy. I'm only going to go into very high level on it. We are definitely mean reverted on the 1 day. The last time we were this mean reverted to the downside on the 1 day, one would have to go all the way back to Friday, the 13th of May, 2022. So go back to Friday, May, go back to, was it Friday the 13th? That's why I can't say it. The price back then was around $22, between $20 and $22 a share. We were extremely oversold. The MNAV was crushed down well below 1. And what happened afterwards? Went on a little bit of a heater all the way up to $550 a share. So we are that mean reverted right now on the daily chart. We're coming off of a wick down to 220, which is an MNAV of 1.0. Currently, it's saying the MNAV is 1.01. I have it calculated at about 1.09, 1.1. So a little bit higher than what this shows, kind of in between the undiluted and fully diluted. What does all that mean in English? That just means it's a buying opportunity, in my opinion. I know that's unpopular. I know a lot of people hate MicroStrategy right now. MicroStrategy has made me a lot of money. It's made a lot of people a lot of money, and it will make a lot of people a lot of money in the future. It's going to be a rough road, though. It's got to get back up through 250. It's got to get through 300. It's got to get through this giant amount of volume, 330, 340, which is also up where the 200-day moving average is, if you can believe it. It's all the way up there. Then get through this last bunch of volume between 380 and 400, and then it's off to the races. So these will be stops along the way. This VRVP, 1, 2, 3, 4 stops, pit stops on the way back up, if we're looking at it on a daily chart, on the daily chart. Again, very mean reverted to the downside. Very, very. You can see we've basically spent the last 2 months mean reverted to the downside, except for this little blip up to 350. Hopefully people are selling some covered calls there. Me, I just sell covered calls all the time on this sucker because I'm not worried about it running away from me. I'm doing it on a portion of my portfolio and renting out my shares so that I'm continuing to collect some income along the way. You want to learn more about that? Jump in the community. That's what we talk about, all kinds of fun money-making opportunities. But as you can see here, we have been in a structural downtrend. Looks to be finding a bottom. Could it go lower? Yep. People ask me, how low do I think it could go? Could go down to 200, right? Psychological level, that was the all-time high, the previous all-time high. Then we rejected off of that for a while back in 2024, and then made a new run at it in late 2024 and started to make new all-time highs by November of last year. But that was, I think, the previous all-time high going back to January of 24. So, or January, February, or March. So why not make another run at it now? And then I already told you what the resistances are to the upside, but we are coming off of RSI levels. This one was super low, stupid low. That one is 21.16, and the most recent one is 24.62. Those are super low readings, guys. Anything below 30 is technically a buying opportunity. Tesla on the daily chart, these gaps still, they stay on my chart till they fill. You'll note that we did wick down and touch the 50-day moving average perfectly on Friday and wicked right back up off of that. Structurally strong uptrend right now with Tesla. It has remained mean reverted to the upside with the exception of this one little green dot that we see here. Other than that, it's been running red hot, pretty much above the 50 line of the RSI, right? We're just grinding in this giant area of volume that you see right here. That's the new all-time high that we made back in December. We came close to it a few times. We're just tending to go sideways right now. You can really see it on this graph. It's like we went up, consolidated sideways, go up, we're consolidating sideways. It's going to take a nice chunk of really, really strong news, I think, to bump this thing off of where it is right now. You'll note we're sitting on the point of control for the last 2 months or so. That's this red line that you see going across the screen. So that means more shares have transpired in this region than anywhere else over the last several months. Something interesting to note is if you go back out a long way and you let VRVP fill in, this giant hole still exists right here. And that causes a little bit of worry for me that we could come back down, wick down, and fill that void, maybe bouncing on the 61.8% fib level, maybe bouncing on this historical support and resistance level. What are the odds that I assign to that? No less than 30% odds that we drop down to there, 70%. We stay up where we are and we continue upwards, right? So about a 1/3 chance of going down, 2/3 chance of going up. If we go up, what's resistance to the upside? It just remains this 460 level up here. To the downside right now, it seems like support is down at 415, 420. So I have been a buyer of shares. Every time it's wicked down below like 425, 420, 415, I just pick up a few extra shares. No, I'm not YOLOing into leaps. Now's not the time, but it is mean reverted to the downside. So hopefully you caught that wick down on Friday, like I said, where it went down to almost 420, Elon's favorite number. Nvidia on the daily up and to the right, that's just staying the same. We have not been mean reverted to the downside except for this little blip right here back in September. And then the blip the last time was all the way back here in April, but really just been running red hot on the daily chart. We did have on the 4-hour chart, we did have a giant wick down. It went below 180. It went all the way down to 178.91, 179.98. So we had below 180. And remember, I have been talking about this red line, this point of control, saying anytime we get down near 180, that's a buying opportunity, right? On something red hot like Nvidia. There are people that were wanting to buy it at $200. I'm like, well, are you kidding me? That's at the top of the range. Wait for it to wick down, set limit orders and get those shares. I got some. Did you? If you didn't set limit orders down here by the point of control, which is the one I've been talking about for a long, long time. In fact, let me continue this one over to the right here. We'll go out a little bit further. See that previous support zone? The previous support zone is always a great place to pick up shares or near the bottom of the current support zone. Good place to dispose of them is near the top of the resistance zone, right? The current resistance zone, which happens to be the all-time high. But we've got a green mean reversion dot. We've got RSI down at 30.2. Sure, it's not 30. It's 30.2. That's close enough. And you get a crossover right here, the MACD. All of that is buying signals. We wick down just below the 50 and almost to the 100-day moving average. Down to this point of control. Guys, that to me is a buying opportunity. Palantir, we're going to throw it in here. Remember, I started doing it. 4-hour. Palantir is just mirroring Nvidia. They look like carbon copies of one another. Same exact thing. Giant mean reversion dot on Palantir. Wicked all the way down to 170. All the way down to 170, guys. I actually closed out a couple of covered calls that I had going right there. And I didn't pick up any extra shares. I already have a pretty juicy position in Palantir, at least for me, how much I want to put in there. So I didn't worry so much about picking up more, but you can see it was a great buying opportunity. You have to be ready. And the only way you're going to be ready, look, there's the point of control. We were below it. Below 180, buying opportunity. You have to be ready. How are you ready? You're ready if you have cash on hand or margin available to you. If you're fully deployed at all times, that means you're just chasing and you're buying tops. You got to be patient and wait for the bottoms, okay? Cruising along over here. Here's the MicroStrategy Tesla pair. We are down to 0.538. I never thought I'd see the day now, this time of year, where it would hit a low of 0.51, meaning it takes a half of a Tesla share to buy one MicroStrategy share when it's at 0.5. Or for every one Tesla share, you get 2 MicroStrategy shares, okay? If you don't believe in MicroStrategy anymore, that means nothing to you. You're just hopefully you're happy that you transferred a lot of your MicroStrategy over to Tesla. On the other hand, if you're sitting on boatloads of MicroStrategy, it doesn't mean, oh, capitulate now and now all of a sudden transfer it over to Tesla. Now you're getting a half of a Tesla share for every MicroStrategy share, whereas up here you were getting 1.5. Now's not the time to go MicroStrategy to Tesla. If you believe in MicroStrategy, now would be the time to go the other direction. And I've already placed those bets myself and have been slowly but surely accumulating Tesla shares, which have then now been helping me accumulate more MicroStrategy shares. IBIT MicroStrategy, or the Bitcoin MicroStrategy, however you want to look at it, but MicroStrategy has been going out the bottom. Let me refresh this page. I just realized that I lost my ARB cloud over here. There's my ARB cloud back again. We are below the ARB price. That's very unusual. You'll note that we have not been blue. The price hasn't been blue since all the way back here a year ago. What that means when this yellow line that I keep tracing over right here, where the yellow line turns blue, that is a clear-cut signal to go from IBIT or Bitcoin into MicroStrategy. It means MicroStrategy is very undervalued. It's because the NAV premium is so low, honestly, at the end of the day. Right now, it takes 4 IBIT shares to get 1 MicroStrategy share, 4 to get 1. At its peak here recently, at its peak, it was as high as 9.84 IBIT shares for 1 MicroStrategy. And at the more recent peaks, it was 7.31 and it was 6.77. Right now, it's like half that. So good time to go from IBIT to MicroStrategy. If you believe that MicroStrategy is going to come back, if you think that MicroStrategy is done and is never coming back, then don't do it. Just hang on to your IBIT or your Bitcoin. Coming over to the rotation model, again, Palantir on Friday, it fired saying to move into Palantir. I did not take action on this because remember before when it told me to sell Palantir, here I bought Palantir, and when it told me to sell Palantir for MicroStrategy, I did not on the rotation model. Instead, I hung on to my Palantir. Smart move, it looks like, on my part, because it told me to move right back into Palantir. Had I gone from Palantir to MicroStrategy back into Palantir, I would have lost money. It would have been a loss. So again, that's where I stand. It doesn't mean I don't believe in the rotation model. I just show it each time and I say it's not necessarily for me. Okay, I trade differently. I have my own way of trading. The S's, STRK is sitting at 88, so it's starting to climb back up again a little bit from when we last looked. STRF just kind of trades sideways on 110 pretty much nonstop. It just has that 10% already built into it because it's a 10% dividend, and so it's trading at 10% above par value. It's kind of just baked in, it seems like. STRK is the one that has that convertibility. STRD is the one that I've stayed away from. It's the one that they could pay it or not pay it. Right now it's at 75 cents on the dollar, right? $75. Par is way up here at 100. So let me just run a quick calculation on this. I think it'll show up here on the screen for you guys as well. 75.51 divided by, sorry, it went the wrong way. 10 divided by 75.51, that is a 13.24. So a 13.2% nominal yield over here. That's crazy. That's crazy. But you got to have faith, right? Because what if STRD goes down to 70? Well, now you're losing money, and who cares what the yield is? You're not making it up fast enough if it's dropping faster than what you're making up. But I believe that one will eventually find a bottom. People will look at it and go, okay, this is too good to be true. They'll jump in at, when it's down here in the 75 range in hopes that it spikes back up, even back up to 80. That's already plus $5 on the underlying shares. And if they grab one dividend payment along the way, which would be $2.50 every quarter, that's like going up $7.50 or a 10% increase from where you are right now. So that's how people are playing that one, STRD. And then finally, my favorite, STRC. That's the one that I'm loaded on right now. Why am I loaded on it? Because I'm taking my profits and just rolling them over into there. And then once a month collecting a 10.5% annual dividend, which is 87.5 cents per share every month. right? You got 100 shares, you're going to make $87.50. If you got 1,000 shares, you're going to make $875, et cetera, et cetera. It's super cool, guys. It is trading right at par value right now. In fact, it's 4 cents above par value. It's at $100.04, so it's starting to trade a little bit back up above par value. Super quick on gold. Gold did seem to find a bottom and is rebounding again right now. I think people realize that one with the whole debasement trade and everything else. It's gold and Bitcoin, guys. It's hard money, hard assets. You'll never prove me otherwise on that, or you never change my mind. You can try to prove me otherwise, but you won't change my mind on it. I believe in both gold and Bitcoin. I know that differs from some of the other YouTubers that are out there that are just hardcore one or the other. All right, guys, I hope you found value in this. If you did, smash that like button. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment below. What'd you like best? What would you like to see more of? What did you learn today? Remember, you can book a course or join the community over at gdinerocoaching.com. The community is live, up and running. How exciting is that, guys? So what is the community? Remember, I'm running a founders sale all the way through the end of the month. It's for the people that helped build this channel at the end of the day. The one-on-one clients that I've worked with, TradingView and technical analysis, course and class students along the way. Anybody that took the Understanding Options course along the way, the tips and tricks subscribers, that my YouTube audience, you name it. If we've connected in some way, shape, or form, this is for you. And what do you get? You get $50 off the community. You get members only and YouTube videos, announcements, and schedule. You get the full community chat. You get trade alerts, trade ideas, live AMAs, and live trainings. I've already done a live AMA for the community. It went 2 hours, guys. 2 hours, right? And I was sitting there answering people's questions left and right. It's for you. This is the way that I will be doing my coaching in the future. I don't have time to coach everybody one-on-one like I've done in the past. So if you want that kind of personalized attention, you want to get questions answered, you're going to want to be a part of the community. I also have been putting out a bunch of market summary spreadsheet templates. You get 25% off any of my courses, and you get 50% off the G Tracker Advanced app once it comes out, right? We're in beta testing right now. We've got a few community members already testing it, and it's going to be going live soon. You can go to that link that you see at the bottom of the screen there, gdinerocoaching.com/founders only, gdinerocoaching/founders only. And finally, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm G Dinero. I'm here to help you increase your financial literacy to help put you and your family on that path to financial freedom. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.